Namo Buddhaya, meritorious Dhamma Friends. We are happy to share the great realization of the Buddha with you all in a continuous program like this to learn the great realization of the Buddha, especially the great realization about mindfulness of the Buddha, to teach you step by step during this program to develop your mind to a great extent. So you might be wondering why we have to learn the Buddha's teachings, why we have to learn about mindfulness, why it is so essential. Because some people might be worrying why we need a religion even. So keep the fact that keep the question of thinking why we need a religion, keep that question away and think, why do we need mindfulness? What's the reason of developing mindfulness? What are the benefits we experience when we develop mindfulness? Dear Dhamma friends, as a brief introduction, I'll teach you a small story, a real incident that happened because of not having mindfulness and because of not knowing how things work as really they are, the reality. And now when we perform actions, maybe verbally or bodily, what we see is the external reactions. Now if we hit someone, he might hit back, he might hit in return, or else if the other person is not powerful like us, not brave like us, not strong like us, he will remain quiet. So those are the external reactions that we understand. Don't we understand these things? We understand. So those are the external reactions. If we hit someone or if we scold someone, either he might scold in return, either he might remain quiet, or he might take revenge later. But those are the external reactions we see. There are internal reactions that take place in our mind. There's something called a karma. A karma gets accumulated when you scold someone, when you hit someone, when you blame someone. There's something called unhappiness in mind that gets generated in our lives. There's something called regret that gets generated in our minds. That happens internally. To overcome that regret, to get rid of that karma in future, we need to have a protection. We need to have a way. So usually people don't understand the internal reactions. They just consider only the external reactions, the problems. Now after they do something wrong or evil, they will only concern about getting away and finding a way to run away from the police. But to run away from the bad karma that we accumulate, do people think about the karma? Do people think these actions, whether these actions will give you results in future? When we scold someone, remember, another person will be there. Another person will be created. Not by a God, that another person will be there for you to scold you, to hit you. That phenomena, that nature, if we don't understand, if we don't realize, if we are not aware of that true nature, how things work in this world, we will live according to our wishes, according to the way we want, but not to the reality of life. We won't live according to the reality of life, how things works. So there's rich and poor in this world, there's beautiful and ugly people in this world. So if we are beautiful in this life, in next life we can become ugly. Some people are short-lived, some people are long-lived. Our lives are unpredictable. So we should be concerned about those things. What makes us to live long? What makes us to live short? So we should live with this awareness. So mindfulness is a great quality that we can practice in our life. Once you have mindfulness, your entire lifestyle changes. And also, I would like to remind you now, this great mindfulness, the ones who live without mindfulness, the ones who does not know the value of mindfulness, the ones who are not aware of mindfulness, once they become powerful, if they are very wealthy, what happens? They don't respect others. The moment they get extra money, the moment they become influential and powerful, the first thing, the first good quality they give up or they loses is becoming humble and respecting others. So there was one person, a prince. This prince, when he was going to the royal gardens, he saw a Pacheka Buddha. So that Pacheka Buddha was without disturbing or harming anyone. He was going on his way to find food. He was not a trouble to others. He didn't go and force other people to give food to him. If people offer him, he accept. If people doesn't offer, he will go to another house. If no one offers, he will go back to the room where he lives and meditate. But this prince who saw this Pacheka Buddha, now you might be wondering who are Buddhas and Pacheka Buddhas and Arahants. So Buddhas, they realize the Dhamma without a guidance of a teacher, and they preach it to others, and they ordain monks and they become Arahants. Pacheka Buddhas, they realize the Dhamma without a guidance of a teacher, but they don't ordain monks and they don't make a Buddha Sasana. They don't preach Dhamma and they don't preach Suttas like this and develop a dispensation like this with lay people, with female followers, with ordained monks, with monastics, with male monastics and with female monastics. That is not happen. That is not done by a Pacheka Buddha. So this Pacheka Buddha was peacefully with calm body postures. He was traveling. He was coming along the road, walking along the road. Then a prince was riding an elephant. So this prince, after seeing this Pacheka Buddha, he thought of climbing down the elephant, he got off from the elephant, and then went to the Pacheka Buddha, and he asked, Bhante, did you receive food? And then he just asked that question, and he took the alms ball from the Pacheka Buddha. The alms ball is a ball that they carry to collect food. He took the alms ball and smashed it on the ground. Now, did Pacheka Buddha do anything? No. Just that prince wanted to show his power, he broke the ball and said to the Pacheka Buddha, look, I am a son of a king. Do whatever you want. He said that, and he got back to the elephant's back and he started moving. Pacheka Buddha went back to the kuti. But that man who broke that Pacheka Buddha's alms ball, he didn't realize that something internally took place. Something internally got accumulated. A bad karma to be born in a bad destination. And to suffer like 1,000 times, 100,000 times more than that Pacheka Buddha experience without being unable to eat and collect food on that day. That prince suffered million times more than that Pacheka Buddha suffered physically. Pacheka Buddha, he would have suffered physically not having food, but not mentally. But this prince, he suffered physically and mentally both. Why? This prince, he did not have a protection for his mind. No mindfulness, no patience, no refuge. So remember, we are developing mindfulness because at any time, just because of our wealth, just because of our own knowledge and personal abilities and small abilities, we might get intoxicated and do things that are harmful for you and harmful for others without knowing. So we might do actions without understanding the danger of performing actions. So that's the introduction I did. So it might not be a brief introduction, but remember, this is why we are learning mindfulness. Not to be born like such princesses, to have a better life. So let's go for refuge to Buddha Dhamma Sangha and observe 5 precepts. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato Samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato Samma sambuddhassa. Buddhaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. Dhammaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. Sanghaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. Dutiyampi buddhaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. Dutiyampi dhammaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. Dutiyampi sanghaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. Tatiyampi buddhaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. Tatiyampi dhammaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. Tatiyampi sanghaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. To observe the 5 precepts, say after me. I observe the precept of abstaining from killing beings. I observe the precept of abstaining from stealing. I observe the precept of abstaining from sexual misconduct. I observe the precept of abstaining from telling lies. I observe the precept of abstaining from taking intoxicating drinks and drugs. I follow these precepts for happiness in this life, for rebirth in heaven, and to realize the Four Noble Truths. In this Gautama Buddha's dispensation. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo Buddhaya. And my homage to my teacher, most venerable Avasarai Kiribadguda Jnanananda Mahathera Avaloka Swamin Wahansa. Dear Dhamma friends, so far we have learned 2 meditation techniques. The first one is the breathing meditation in Kaya Anupassana. Then we learn how to focus to the body postures, that is Iriyapata, section on postures. And then now today we are learning the 3rd meditation technique, that is sampajāna, about a section on clear comprehension. So let's see how we can practice the 3rd meditation. I will chant in Pali and then explain the meanings in English. Punacha param bhikkave bhikkhu abhikkante patikkante sampajanakari hoti alokite vilokite sampajanakari hoti samminjite pasarite sampajanakari hoti Sanghatipatta chivara dharane sampajanakari hoti Asite pite khaite saite sampajanakari hoti. Gate tite nisinne sutte jagarite bhasite tunhi bhave sampajanakari hoti. So that's the third meditation technique. Buddha preaches how we can be mindful. So another way we can be mindful towards the body is like this. Punacha param bhikkhave bhikkhu. Again, monks, a monk intent on realizing the Dhamma, strive hard, who strives hard to realize the Dhamma, abhikkante patikkante sampajanakari hoti. He dwells with complete awareness and wisdom directed to eradicate defilements. What is abhikkante patikkante? Abhikkante means going forward. Patikkante means returning. So when you are walking, you should be mindful. When you are going forward, when you are returning, you should be mindful. So this meditation technique, honestly, dear Dhamma friends, you can start early morning and until you go to bed, you can practice this. Every day you can practice this mindfulness. Now breathing, we have to sit and practice that, I told in the beginning. But this meditation will protect you the moment you wake up and until you go to sleep, you can practice this. And even after you sleep, don't worry, you have accumulated a huge good karma. You have followed the Buddha's path, that even if you die in the night while sleeping, you were a person who have practiced the satipatthana throughout the day. So when you are going forward and returning, so going forward, imagine you leave the house. Early morning you wake up, then you get off from the bed, then you go to the washroom. Mindfulness. Don't let an unwholesome thought to come into your mind. Always be aware. Then Buddha preaches alokite vilokite sampajanakari hoti. What is that? When looking ahead and looking around. So after you wake up, you might look around and see where the phone is, where the smartphone is, where the torch is, then where the switch is, the light is. So all these things should be done mindfully. Remember how you live mindfully? In all these occasions, when you are going forward, when you are looking around, when you look forward, don't let an unwholesome thought to come to your mind. See how this mindfulness is protecting you. Then Buddha preaches samminjite pasarite sampajanakari hoti. How does that happen? When you are bending and stretching limbs, when you're bending your arms, when you're stretching your arms. So then when you're bending and stretching your legs, imagine now you're sleeping, you wake up. Then don't you do these things until you go to bed again in the evening, in the night, you do these things. Remember mindfully, don't let an unwholesome thought to come to your mind. Then Buddha preaches Sanghadipat Chivara Dharane Sampajanakari Hoti. So even while wearing robes, while holding the alms ball, we should be mindful. How can we be mindful without letting unwholesome thoughts? Even while wearing this robe, we can think, I'm wearing this robe to overcome cold, to overcome heat, to overcome the distraction that comes from flies and mosquitoes, then to cover the shy places. That is a wise contemplation. So even as lay people, while wearing clothes, you can think, I'm wearing this clothes. The reason you are wearing clothes, then whatever the attachment that you have towards the clothes will also be abandoned. Then Buddha preaches Asite, pite, kaite, saite, sampajāna hoti. What's that? When you are eating, drinking, chewing and tasting, you should be mindful. See, Buddha has covered all the places, no loopholes. Buddha has covered all the places where you can get distracted by unwholesome thoughts. And he has reminded all those places, all those incidents where your mind can get distracted. And he has protected you. That's why we need this refuge from the Buddha. We have to wholeheartedly practice these teachings while being grateful to the Buddha. Because his realization is marvelous. Who else realized these things? Mindfulness like this, telling us clearly the occasions, the moments to be mindful, and the way how we should be mindful. It's a Buddha. We are fortunate, dear Dhamma friends. We are hearing and learning and practicing these teachings. So such people have a refuge. That refuge is happiness. That refuge is abandoning suffering forever. That refuge is eradicating this karma that has been accumulated throughout the samsara. This is not the first and the last life. Fortunately, if this can be the last life, that is wonderful if you can attain Nibbana. But remember, this is not the first life. We have been coming in an endless journey. Buddha has preached the amount of tears we have shed when our mother passed away, when our father passed away. It's more than the great ocean. That much we have been coming without mindfulness, without developing mindfulness. Why do we cry? Is it because of mindfulness or lack of mindfulness? Lack of mindfulness. Why do we cry? Why do we suffer when we separate from loved ones? Now, these days, because of coronavirus, see how people are separating from loved ones, how people are suffering from diseases, how much people are living with loneliness, how much they are suffering from loneliness, without talking to others, without seeing others, without meeting people, without having enough money to survive. Why we are suffering still in life? Why we are still suffering again and again? Why we have again fallen into suffering? We have not developed mindfulness in the past lives to a great extent to abandon these problems and find a refuge once and for all, forever. We have not realized that Dhamma yet to an extent where we have attained the final attainment of Nibbana, eradication of all defilements. If that would have happened in the past lives, we would not be existing right here. Then, dear Dhamma friends, Buddha preachers, see, while eating, drinking, chewing, tasting, we should be mindful. We should understand the purpose of eating. So this meditation technique, we need to take 2-3 programs and finish it, because this is a wonderful meditation technique. This sampajanna meditation, a section on clear comprehension. So I will introduce the meditation and then I will explain one by one in upcoming programs. Then Buddha preaches even uchchara passava kamme sampajāna hoti, even while urinating and defecating. We should not let an unwholesome thought to distract, to pollute our mind. We should not let that to happen, even while urinating and defecating. Then Buddha preaches finally, when walking, gate, tite, nisinne, sutte, jagarite, bhasite, tunhi bhave, sampajāna hoti, when walking, standing, sitting, sleeping, awake, talking and keeping silent. We should be mindful. Now some people are silent. Sometimes when they are angry, they are silent, but internally, cracking internally, blasting internally. Lack of mindfulness. So if these things, when you leave home, when the moment you wake up, in the early morning until you go to night. If you can follow these things, don't you eat, don't you work, don't you talk to people, don't you look around, if you can be if you can be mindful, you are protected. You have followed the path. Now can you tell that you don't have time to practice mindfulness? You have. You have. It's not knowing how to practice mindfulness. You regret thinking that I don't have time to practice the Buddha's teachings. I need time. I need time. Don't find time. Don't waste time. Don't waste time by finding time to practice Dhamma. Try to spend this valuable time with mindfulness. So today you learn the sampajāna meditation. You are also fortunate. I am also fortunate to share these teachings with you all. So today I gave a brief introduction and taught you what the sampajana meditation, and I'm hoping to continue this program to teach you more about sampajana meditation in upcoming programs, and to practice this mindfulness to a great extent and live happily and realize the Four Noble Truths in this Gautama Buddha's dispensation. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo Buddhaya.